yeah. So that happened. And I don't know. Guys, I don't know. I wouldn't even know like where to begin on telling you how the fuck this happened. Maybe like with the city and the country generally being on lockdown again, it kind of was difficult to vlog and make like new content, and like it sort of felt like reaching in a way. Reaching to just dig up something to show you guys. And that including me having some certain issues with people in my life. All of this kind of like drew me to a point of like absolute total anxiety in the last 2 months where, I don't know, my ego and my self-care and generally believing in myself was kind of a bit more harder than it usually was. So as funny as I sometimes may be, you guys know goddamn well we all got our little demons and our mental health issues we gotta like take care of every once in a while. And at the point, there wasn't really no time and no place in my mind to dedicate that much to film, which is kind of the most awful thing that can happen to this channel, because when it comes down to it, the main heart of it are the movies. But, hello, I did get my ass together, and what do I say? We're back! Hello, Voiders, and welcome to a fresh edition of I Hate Sundays, and god damn it, it feels great saying that again. It's been hard, it's been tough. You know, the pandemic's really not easy on anyone. I am still stuck in Germany, as you see. But I got a few announcements to make. Well, anyway, before all of this happened, like, right before everything went back into lockdown again, something incredible finally happened. Let me show you. Yeah, I saw it in the store. Isn't that amazing? Oh boy. And while we're on it, I got a big ass announcement. There's something I've been keeping secret for quite a while. We are bringing out the sequel to Blind. It's already been shot and it's been wrapped. It's actually already been edited. It's done. It should be released like sometime by the end of this year. We're hitting some festivals. It is called Pretty Boy, and I cannot wait till you guys see it. Some press has already been covering it, so this is all very exciting, and I can't wait for you to be part of this. Like, it was really hard producing this one, especially from Germany. Like, they were shooting in LA and I was producing it from here in Germany. Like, I still can't get back home until those borders open, so it's still a battle to do that. But anyway, what we're actually here for is basically the countdown of the 2020 films. I mean, it's March and we still haven't gotten to that since I was gone, so let's go do that in the old school room. All right, everyone. This is pretty much what we have been like counting down to in all of 2020. So let's take a look first what the best movies were, and then take a look what the shittiest ones were. So, number 10 is going to The Lodge, which was one of the first movies I saw this year, but still held up pretty nicely. I hardly got any kind of... This is, I think, the film that gave me the most claustrophobic feeling out of all of the films that I've seen this year. The performances here are amazing. It's kind of like, even though it does borrow some kind of components from Ari Aster itself, it still manages to be its own thing on its own. Like, even though it has Hereditary written all over it in parts, this is like a movie that could have, with a little less of boring from Ari Aster, this could have made itself be its own really dynamic thing, but it also shows just how cruel and how cold children can be, and just how fucked up things can turn out when you are playing with someone else's mental health. So, that was very impressive. Number 9 is Unhinged. I really loved Russell Crowe's performance there. The whole entire concept of the movie is just something very unique. That it all takes place on that freeway. You feel very trapped. You're like really noticing how unnerving this whole entire situation is for our protagonist. We have also like basically just 3 main characters in the whole entire film, and you really feel for all of them, and even the last act is very dynamic. Like, that's definitely one of the highlights of the year for me. Number 8 would be Becky, also a very strong little horror movie with also a very closed up space. It's almost like kind of Lord of the Flies meets I Spit on Your Grave kind of a vibe. I really enjoyed that one. I'm definitely a big fan of revenge movies, and that one honestly took it home. It was definitely one of the best this year had to offer. Number 7 would go to Good Joe Bell, which I saw a TIFF with Mark Wahlberg playing a father, teaching holding speeches against bullying towards gay people, something that very dearly is to my heart, since I also am part of the LGBTQ community. So, an amazing performance from Mark Wahlberg, definitely on all behalves. Also, a very well-written script in the first 2 acts. However, this might have actually even gotten a higher score if the ending hadn't been a tad disappointing. Number 6 would go to Freaky, which, I don't know, really, like, made me smile because it just, like, shows that, people like Vince Vaughn can play a teenage girl better than actual teenage girls. So, like, I really laughed at that one. I really had a lot of fun with it. I also enjoyed it very much that it didn't, like, shy away from the gore and the violence in this one. It's from the same team that made Happy Death Day. So, I was expecting it to be a lot more lighthearted, and that it got to this, like, actual horror level that really, like, impressed me and made me smile very much. Number 5, we'll have to go to Bill and Ted's Face the Music, which was really a nice, beautiful throwback from into the 90s. I was always a big fan of the Bill and Ted movies, and I really got the feeling, like, in this one that we were getting an actual Bill and Ted film, like all these years hadn't actually passed, and this was actually like really a direct sequel to the other 2 movies. So as someone who like grew up on these things and really enjoys these movies to this very day, I really, really, really enjoyed Bill and Ted Face the Music. Absolutely. Also, I think those daughters of Bill and Ted, they deserve their own spin-off movie. That is also something I have to say. Number 4 would have to go to The Invisible Man, which I really didn't have high hopes for in going in, but I was really surprised, first of all, because we were reviving that monster movie thing that really didn't, like, impress anyone that much at the beginning, like, you know, The Mummy with Tom Cruise and shit like that. And it was also a Blumhouse production, so we had, like, 2 things that didn't really work well on their own, but presented as this film, it worked really great, especially with the amazing performances. Ooh, now we get to the top 3. Number 3 would have to go to Random Acts of Violence. Yeah, hear me out. I know I might be the only one putting this film so high on my list, but for me, this was a movie that's kind of like really touched my heart because it asks itself if we as filmmakers and we as creative people are allowed to celebrate violence, because when we create violent content and celebrate violence ourselves, we inspire other people to commit these horrid atrocities. And I think random acts of violence really like balanced those things very well. So I was like incredibly impressed by that. Loved that movie. Who we're getting closer. Number 2 would go to Borat 2. There's nothing really much to say to this. This was just incredible filmmaking. I can't believe they pulled all of this off during the pandemic. And that they actually like put the entire pandemic into the whole entire Borat film itself. I actually liked it even more than the first one. Especially also like with how they exposed Rudy Giuliani and other people in this film. And just how heartwarming it actually was. Towards the end. Like, I really loved this one. And let's get to some honorable mentions before we crown the number 1 spot. Definitely Color Out of Space. Definitely Slaxx. Definitely Possessor. And number 1 is going to a Danish film we saw at TIFF about drinking called Another Round. This was something like, as somebody who likes to party and who likes to drink a lot, really, really moved me because it showed like exactly a very realistic perspective of what alcohol does to you. It wasn't just like the stupid PSA that says alcohol bad. No, it was like, it showed you how much fun you can have getting drunk, but it also showed you like the consequences for like being an alcoholic and getting wasted all the time. And it was also like, felt also kind of like a love letter to life itself. So this kind of like in 2020, I gotta say, Another Round was actually my favorite film of the year. So there's that. Didn't you expect more horror on this list? I did too, but we ended up with a lot of comedy and drama. Anyway, now that we got the good, let's take a look at the bad. So Voiders, as you've seen, we've made shit a lot darker in here. And we're going to talk about the stuff that sucked in 2020. So, there's not going to be any dishonorable mentions here because already, like, there weren't that many shitty movies this year, so it's already 10 and 9. I almost feel like they don't really belong here because they were generally okay. So let's kick it off with number 10. That would go to The Room. And we're not talking about Tommy Wiseau's The Room. We're talking about this little indie film that had a very nice concept about a room where you wish for things and the things you wish for just start appearing in that place. But it honestly failed in the execution pretty miserably, and that's why I didn't rank it pretty high, but nevertheless, this ain't that bad of a movie. It's just not that great. Same thing goes with our number 9 spot. It's also a movie that generally has a great premise. Underwater. It's also a movie that is generally not a bad film and actually has a really nice concept and actually like has a few Lovecraftian elements with like some Cthulhu stuff happening. But somehow it generally, like, missed the mark of what it was, like, trying to go for. Even though Kristen Stewart, like, literally made an amazing performance in this movie, it still somehow didn't really, like, give me what I wanted from the film itself. It was kind of a little too lame, a little too, you didn't really care for any of the characters, and so on. Let's go on with our number 8. That would be Homewrecker. And that movie was a movie that was almost good, and I was especially in love with the soundtrack, and it had some really amazing moments to it, but somehow it really felt dragged on, and the pacing was pretty much a disaster in this movie, and even though our 2 lead actresses did their best job in trying to carry it, but the script felt really lame and really forced, so I wasn't really convinced about this one at all. Let's go with number 7. would be Spree. And this is like one of those movies where you're trying to make... It's one of those online horrors. And I am a fan of online horrors. But the thing is, like, I kind of felt like they missed the mark on this one. It felt like one of those movies where people are trying to write about social media, even though they don't really understand social media themselves whatsoever. And even though you had that kid from Stranger Things who's actually doing a very good job in his performance, the concept of not understanding how social media works sort of like killed this one for me. Verse 6 would definitely have to go to She Dies Tomorrow. All in all, like, it was a nice concept, but this movie is just like a bunch of eye candy with a lot of like little fancy... All in all, this movie is just a bunch of eye candy with a lot of lacrimosa from Mozart, remember? And very cringy dialogue and kind of no substance whatsoever. So that one was like kind of a huge disappointment. Number 5, ooh, they're getting worse and worse by the second, would be Fantasy Island, which kind of just bored the crowd, which was filled with so much melodrama and so much unnecessary and so much unnecessary cringe, and just was also way too long. Like, didn't really had all these different storylines going on that didn't really connect with each other whatsoever. And it was so fucking beyond corny at some points, honestly. Like, I was bored out of my mind with this one. Number 4 would have to be Gretel and Hansel, where we have, again, a lot of eye candy, a lot of beautiful shots, but hardly any substance, hardly any good acting, very boring, very much extended for no reason whatsoever, and some horrible performances from the boy who played Hansel. Number 3, oh, this one we saw early in the year, before the pandemic even came or anything, is The Turning. I was so bored in the theater. I think I fell asleep during the movie like 2 or 3 times. And when you're waiting for that payoff at the end that never arrives, and you don't even have like a conclusion when it comes to the end, you're just left with a bunch of disappointments. And God, this bored the crap out of me. Like, seriously. I don't remember the last time something bored me as much as The Turning did. Good, now we're getting off to the really, really shitty ones. Number 2 would have to go to I Still Believe. I still can't wonder why I would even be watching I Still Believe, but I don't know. I am a fan of Riverdale, as most of you know, so I was really wondering how KJ Apa would perform in another role. And what I hated about this is that this was a movie like sold to the people like as if it was some kind of a teen romance film, but otherwise just ended up being some big old Christian propaganda story, and I really hated it, and it made very little sense, and I don't know, KJ Apa was still kind of acting like Archie in Riverdale, so there was not much to, like, really, you know, get from his performance too in this one. And number 1! Oh, I knew this was... Everybody who watched this channel probably, like, knew this was coming. The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, which is by the same person who made The Haunting of Sharon Tate, Daniel Farans. And if you think that the disrespect that was met in The Haunting of Sharon Tate, it's kind of incredible that it actually gets topped in The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, because they start inventing shit that never happened in this. Worst of all, it also seems like the movie is getting... Worst of all, I did some digging and I found out that the movie was actually getting funded by no other than O.J. Simpson himself. There's some moments in it where, like, the movie just straight out imitates a kill from Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like seriously taking somebody's life and turning it into fictitious bullcrap. It is like some of the most disrespectful movie making I have ever seen in my life. So, yeah, that would be our chart. I will put the whole entire chart of everything we watched into the description down below, so you can check all 52 movies that we saw this year and have them right before your eyes. So, there's that. And we'll be doing a similar thing starting out now with 2020. Looking forward to that. So guys, before I go and leave you, I just want to tell you we're back. We're going to keep doing videos. And the hiatus on this channel is over. I'm sorry the last year had like these two shitty hiatus moments due to my mental health. First of all, the one because of quarantine, and second one because of this one now. But, you know, I'm fighting strong. I'm never going to let this channel actually die. Sometimes I just really need a break to get, like, my head straight and make things work. So, like, there's a few changes that will happen. Our times are still a bit rough. And I've noticed that sometimes when I force myself to do Sundays, like forced to do the Sundays vlogs, that my heart's not 100% into it when I'm like forced to do them. When there's like, when I'd rather be like recording a Movie Void episode, or I'd be rather just reviewing mini movies, that I like get this feeling, okay, boy, you have to vlog, you have to vlog, you have to vlog your ass off, and I don't like that. And the quality of the Sunday sometimes just isn't as great if like I don't feel like the freedom to do so. So I was thinking like in the future I will only be doing I Hate Sundays episodes when there's something worth vlogging. Like if there's nothing going on and we're just hanging out at my place all week, you can like just like me and a couple of friends or something and not really doing anything spectacular, then I'm not going to be vlogging that, because what's the point? It's stupid. When the stores open up again and things actually start going on, and definitely when we're back in LA, there will be a lot more I Hate Sundays, I can promise you that. So that is why I'm also going to be splitting up the movie reviews from the I Hate Sundays themselves and posting them on their own. And it'll also give you guys like the feeling that there's more content happening on this. So that's going to be for sure. I'm going to be posting a lot more movie reviews and not just like combining them with Sundays, so you can like actually differentiate them, because I know it gets confusing. Some people like watch the I Hate Sundays for the vlog, some people watch them for the movie reviews, and then a lot of the content starts getting skipped to like what you actually want to see. So I'm going to separate those now. And I will definitely be making actual movie reviews in the future. So the next one that's going to be coming out probably will be on our 4th year channel anniversary, which it happens always on the 21st of March. Be sure to be catching the birthday stream we'll be having for that day too. So that would like, can't wait for that to happen. Yeah, and we're back, guys. I will see you soon.
Go to drugs, go to school, cause it's cool to be a lawyer or a doctor. Don't give a fuck about your life, fuck it up, yeah. Wasted potential every day, that's how I roll. You don't even look at me, cause I'm a motherfucking troll. You don't care, you don't see me. I don't give a fuck living life, that's how we be.